markets are volatile, it can be quite difficult to know what to do, how to avoid large drawdowns. And one way to perhaps minimize the impact of drawdowns is to look at a multi-asset fund. I've got several multi-asset funds here. The first few hold assets such as equities, bonds and commodities. They're all quite defensive. Then the next two, BMO and Miton, they're funds of funds and they invest in other investment trusts. And then AVI and Caledonia invest in a mixture of funds, equities and private equity, but don't so much invest in bonds or in commodities. And then the final two are hedge funds that operate strategies to try and make money in both rising and falling markets. And what we can see is that over the last 30 days, Pershing Square has been very successful. It's also on quite a high discount to its net asset value, which is explained by very high ongoing charges fee, and the fee there is 2% of net assets and then a 20% take on any excess returns over and above the S&P 500. And because it's done quite well recently, that's why it has quite a high ongoing charges fee. But it has been incredibly successful, and the market cap at 7.5 billion and the FTSE 100 entry really supports the strategy that it's pursuing. So now if we look at the top 10 holdings for Pershing Square, it's really just individual companies that it's just taking bets on, and it's looking at certain themes, which is really a recovery from coronavirus, looking at those themes and then investing. This is Caledonia, so it's got the top two are private equity, and it's got some funds of funds and then some individual companies. It also has 12% cash. It's possibly felt that these private equity holdings aren't that liquid, and potentially the performance of the fund help to explain why it's on a discount to net assets. But the other funds, the top 10s, are here. So Capital Gearing has Japan, some bonds, some investment trusts, and some property assets as well, and then some gold, personal assets, gold, individual equities, treasury bills. AVI Global has Pershing Square as the number one holding, and Third Point Investors is another hedge fund, and that's the second highest holding, so that's quite interesting. Funds of funds here, these companies, it's interesting to note what they hold, and then it's possible for an individual investor to just replicate what they're doing, read the monthly reports, look at what's being bought, look at what's being sold, and get ideas from that. Miton Global tends to buy investment trusts when they're on a discount, and then when they become fully valued, it tends to sell them. So it's a bit of a market timing investor. Ruffer Capital Partners. Ruffer is bits of gold, treasuries, and some individual companies as well. And then RIT Capital Partners is basically a few funds, but they're not necessarily all quoted, and some individual companies as well. So what I've done is looked at the performance of these funds. I've looked at the maximum drawdown. I've looked at how long it's taken. If you're incredibly unlucky and invested at a high, how long would it take for you to get your money back? The worst one here is Caledonia, where it would have taken 2,800 days to get your money back if you've been buying at the most unfortunate time. So I'm looking at the combination of drawdown and returns to see which ones I think are the best. So Pershing, higher drawdown but better returns than BH Macro. Of the defensive funds, Capital Gearing, no drawdown. Same with Ruffer, so that's quite useful, although you still have maybe about 3 years to wait if you buy at the most unfortunate time. Ruffer has better 3-year average returns. BMO and Miton, returns are fairly average really, so possibly not worth investing in those, and more better idea just to look at how they're trading. Caledonia, fairly rubbish returns, only single digit. AVI, better returns, and possibly if you want exposure to private hedge funds, but you don't want to invest specifically in a hedge fund because you don't like the fees, then maybe AVI is a way of dipping a toe into the water. So if you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please give any comments you might have and subscribe to the channel.